I mean, it is amazing when you have the eye for something, right? Like, and you understand what you're looking for and you understand, to your point about what your actual personal style is. Money does not have to be a constraint into finding great clothes. You can find great things, but you do have to search and you have to have that vision.
The lack of money is what makes you more creative with your style.
Yes. Hello, hello. This is Brooke Devard, and you're listening to the Naked Beauty Podcast. If you're joining us on YouTube, you are watching the Naked Beauty Podcast, and I am so excited for today's guest, Sami Miro, someone I've been trying to get on Naked Beauty since 2021. At that Teen Vogue Summit, I was like, please come on the podcast. Here we are 5 years later. I finally made it happen. Sami Miro is the founder of Sami Miro Vintage, creative director, and a CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund finalist. Sami's innovative approach to fashion and design combines her interest in emerging AI and material technologies and circular design to create ethically responsible styles. You all know sustainability is very important to me, so I'm so excited to have someone I can nerd out on sustainability with. Sami's eco-friendly work has been featured on some of the biggest stages and names in the world, including Beyoncé's and her 29 dancers at the Cowboy Carter Tour. I remember that set. That was epic. But you've also dressed that you just did Emma Grede for the 15% Pledge Gala. You guys both looked so fab that night.
Thank you.
You recently made a dress for Lizzo. And of course, we cannot forget about the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team in 2024. I mean, incredible. Sami's work proves that an interest in fashion and sustainability is not mutually exclusive. They are inextricably linked. And I, for very selfish reasons, am excited to talk to Sami about her, just like the cool girl's guide to LA as a beauty and fashion icon. I have so many questions for Sami. Sami, welcome to Naked Beauty.
Thank you so much, Brooke. That was a glorious introduction.
I mean, you've done so much, and, I admire your style a lot.
Thank you.
I mean, even the look today, incredible. So, Sami, you have always stood out to me as someone that has really great personal style, and you make a statement with your beauty looks and just your outfits. And I always feel like sometimes an outfit speaks for you more than you can speak for yourself. So I've actually pulled out, and we'll explain it to people that are listening on audio. We'll add the image here. This outfit to me encapsulates who you are as this very cool girl. Let's describe it for people listening.
Okay.
I'm gonna hand it to you, and you can describe it. It's like a plaid.
Yes. Okay. So what we have here on bottom is a plaid skirt. I would say that it is about 5 sizes too large on me.
Okay.
It was supposed to be high-waisted. But I just loved the wool and the pattern. It was perfect. So
yes.
Had to have it.
Typical tartan red plaid.
Yes, exactly.
The shoe is sick.
The shoe is amazing. It's a fancy club boot / pump. But what I did to the skirt was, put it on and floofed it around and pinned it here and there, and then, landed on a one leg out, super mini and one side, and then kind of asymmetric. And then I'm wearing one of those iconic, I forget what the name of them, what they are. They're
the popcorn shirts that are tiny, and then you can put them on and they expand.
Exactly.
But you're wearing it in this bright blue, aquamarine color that kind of you wouldn't think to pair with a red plaid.
Definitely not. And I'm also wearing it wrong. I think I tied the arms behind me, so it was a tube top, and who knows. And then I'm wearing a really cute, oh God, what is her name?
Penny Lane. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Penny Lane coat.
A Penny Lane style coat. Yeah. Very rock and roller girlfriend coat.
Rock and roll. And then some Margiela Gentle Monster glasses.
Yes, the eyewear.
Yes.
On point. This to me is a just typical example of how you can just take things, put them together. These things don't go together. I'm just going to say that. But you look so good, and the way that you style it and put it together just feels very you.
Thank you. It's also very impractical. I, for some reason, love to be uncomfortable all the time and have to worry about my clothes popping open. Even, for example, right now, I'm wearing a vintage Ralph Lauren cardigan,
but it's backwards.
And then there's one little tiny safety pin that I did running out of the house, and hopefully
The way that you style, but the way that you style clothes is so inspiring because with a few items in your closet, you're able to create all of these infinite options.
Yeah, and that is actually a really big problem for me when it comes to getting ready because whether I have a humongous wardrobe or a scrap and, a t-shirt, I really can make 100 different outfits with it.
You can make anything happen.
Yeah.
Well, I have now been living in LA for 3 years. And one of the things that I've noticed about LA, coming from New York and the events scene in LA, is there is a lot of people that are in a head to toe look from a showroom, from a specific designer. The glam is like the perfect blowout and like the perfect like snatched face. And then I see you at events and you've got like your skinny brow and like a really interesting blush placement and like the hair is making a statement and you're doing like your own style thing. And I'm like, okay, Sami, who is a West Coast girl and you've lived in LA for a long time. I'm like, she is doing it different from all the other LA girlies.
Yes, it's not a goal of mine, I would say. I think that I'm just really in touch with what I think looks good on me and what's flattering on me and what gives me the most confidence. So it's actually interesting because do you remember we were at a Ferragamo dinner during Art Basel, or no, not
Freeze.
During Freeze
Yes.
in LA. And we were sitting next to each other. And that was like the first day that I felt like I finally unlocked something in my beauty in terms of my makeup,
Yes.
where I fully finally understood how to do makeup on myself. And when I say unlocked, it's because I turned off this part of my brain where, we watch all of these YouTube videos and you're supposed to do this that way and this that way, but everybody's facial structure is so different, so it doesn't apply. And finally I understood, just look at my face as if I'm, sketching or, doing like charcoal and smudging. And I was wearing like some really wild white.
I remember.
Eyeshadow with like super skinny brows, but like I felt great.
Yeah, because you looked cool and you looked different and unique. And I think everyone here in LA in this like Hollywood industrial complex that we exist in has a team and stylists. And like, by the way, like I love glam. If I could be in glam every day, like put me in glam. But I do think that sometimes, and I'll speak to the stylist and the wardrobe part of it, it sort of becomes this death knell to personal style because you start to lose touch with like what you actually like if someone is always putting you in an outfit.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And how I would interpret it is, for me, I guess, in applying it to fashion is just being scrappy. Mm-hmm. When I have to get creative, it's how I started in fashion. Then that's when, my creativity really is turned on. Versus it's actually interesting because when I started to kind of get like, brands were reaching out and they're like, oh, we want to send you clothes. We want to send you this and that. I found that I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, who am I?
Like, they just have all of the latest stuff from it's like, are these even the clothes that I like?
No, at first it's like, it's a dream. Like, this is what everyone wants, and I'm so grateful for these opportunities to get all of these beautiful articles of clothing. But if I piece them all together at the same time, it's just like, it's not me anymore. And so I had to be really aware of that going forward and just, take a step back and be like, I always have to kind of be rushed and stressed while I'm getting ready with scissors in hand.
I was going to say, and take a pair of scissors. You're good for taking a pair of scissors to a beautiful garment.
Yes.
I'm always like,
I'm pretty sure I have scissors in like every room of my house and in every nook and cranny of my office.
Well, so. when you came in, you saw me like cutting your questions and you were like, these are great scissors.
Those are beautiful scissors.
She loves a scissor. And so I assume then you don't have a stylist.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah. Have you worked with a stylist before?
For myself personally, yes. I think on a couple of campaigns and photo shoots.
And how was that for you?
Early on, I was like really hesitant to kind of give my opinion because I didn't want to disrespect anybody. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, things should always be collaborative, and I think people should speak up because you want them to feel confident, obviously, especially if they're going to be in front of a camera. So I learned that there's no problem with saying how I feel, and then it became more collaborative. And I think now it's like, I would say it's sounding like I've worked with a lot of stylists. I really haven't. It's been maybe 5. But they just kind of expect me to take the lead anyway.
Yeah,
so,
come in as you are.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. So you've shared that your desire to fit in with your peers led to a vintage Lacoste polo, and ultimately just like experiencing the magic of vintage shopping. What brands did you initially go looking for?
I really was not ever brand driven except for that vintage Lacoste polo. Yeah. I grew up with a dad and a brother and like fashion, although my dad is extremely fashionable.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Everybody who meets my dad, they're like, he is so cool.
Oh my gosh. And okay, we need to see Papa Miro's style.
Look right here. Here's some photos. But eBay was my dad's thing. It was just, he was always sourcing and hunting for things. And so it was kind of like in my blood.
What's your dad's background?
So my dad has an insane background. He really is a Renaissance man. He grew up in LA. He was a jazz musician many, many, many years ago. And then he found himself, he was a writer on Laverne and Shirley and Welcome Back, Kotter.
Wow.
And by jazz musician, he was an alto sax player. And then for the last several decades of his career, then he was a professor in quantitative business analysis.
Wow. And an eBay sourcer. He really is both creative and he has both sides. And I know he's encouraged you in terms of just your education and the things that you study. But okay, so you're in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
You want this Lacoste polo.
Yes.
And you go into a vintage shop?
Yeah. No. Okay. So I was walking around San Francisco. I was on, it's called Van Ness Street, if anybody knows. Very busy street. I was walking with a girlfriend. I think I was in middle school. And we walk into the store. It was American Rag.
Oh, wow. American Rag?
Yeah.
Which is still here in LA.
It is, yeah. American Rag. And the front of the store is all, new clothing. And they all have different layouts, but they all have, vintage and new sections. But the one in San Francisco was all new up front. And so I'm like going through the racks and like, looking at the prices and being like, okay, definitely can't afford any of those things. Then I keep walking, and then I hit the back of the store and they have a whole vintage section. And I'm looking at the price tags and it's $5 for this, and I just got so excited. So I found a Lacoste polo that was purple turned like, purpley mauve-y holes and, the whole shebang. And it was perfect. So I bought it. And I wore it like every day.
And that was the beginning of your love affair with vintage.
It was the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing when you have the eye for something, right? Like, and you understand what you're looking for and you understand, to your point, about what your actual personal style is. Money does not have to be a constraint into finding great clothes. You can find great things, but you do have to search and you have to have that vision.
The lack of money is what makes you more creative with your style.
Yes.
At least that's my experience.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just copy and paste, and you can go into anywhere and afford the same things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was it like growing up in San Francisco? Did you feel beautiful growing up? Were you like one of the cool girls?
I absolutely was not one of the cool girls.
Okay.
I did feel beautiful, though, but I didn't feel confident.
Talk to me about that difference.
My dad, as you can probably tell, is like, he's like, had such a big impact in my life and how I looked at myself and who I wanted to be. And my dad, he's French and Russian, and my mom is Black, and I didn't grow up with her, but my dad always raised me. I felt really lucky as a mixed person. I feel like a lot of mixed women feel, they're like, I'm not white enough, I'm not Black enough.
And to add on to that, you were growing up in a household with just your white father. So you were very disconnected from the Black experience, or?
Not necessarily that, but just disconnected from having a physical person there to kind of like guide me.
Right. This is
and
how you
like,
do your hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my amazing father would do it, and he would, put my hair up. He figured out braids.
Wow.
He did that crown braid that went up above your head, ponytail with like curly Q.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. But I felt really lucky because my dad always told me that Black women are the most beautiful.
I mean, and he's right.
And he is right. Yes. So I felt like I never kind of questioned that, and I was typically the only Black person in school. So it wasn't, so I felt beautiful knowing that, I had fuller lips and that I had, curly hair. But I was just very shy and I hadn't found my confidence yet. So beautiful, but not confident.
Not confident. When do you think you came into your confidence?
When I discovered vintage.
When you discovered vintage,
yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
And what was it about kind of honing in on your personal style and this experience of shopping for vintage that you felt like everything clicked?
I realized that vintage has a story. And I was able to connect to the excitement of and the curiosity of, where was this pant or shirt or jacket before I obtained it? Yeah. And what life did it live? And who was wearing it? And what were they doing? And there was just something about that magic and that storytelling that made me feel so confident, knowing that I was the only person in the world with that exact article of clothing on.
Yeah. And it is a flex to be like, it's like people are like, oh, where'd you get that? You're like, it's vintage.
Yeah. Sorry, can't get it anywhere else.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. San Francisco in particular also has an interesting history with vintage. If you think about like Haight-Ashbury and like that whole movement of the 60s of like the hippies were the first to really be like, okay, we're going to thrift clothing. And I mean, I feel like San Francisco also has a very unique vintage scene. I don't know if it's still unique and interesting as San Francisco's been increasingly taken over by tech companies, but it definitely has that history.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I think that I had just a lot of options around. And yeah, Haight-Ashbury had so much vintage. I mean, really all over the city, like every neighborhood had a vintage store, some more than others, but it was pretty prevalent.
Yes. So I discovered vintage shopping older than you did. At middle school, I was not up on vintage, but I love how the kids today, like they really get it. Like they're all thrifting and they're finding interesting stuff. It's so funny to see them like buy these things from like Abercrombie and Hollister that they're like coveting. They're like, oh, this is like a grail piece. And you're like, oh my God, this is my like worst nightmare outfit. But they love it and I love that for them. But yes, I can remember vintage shopping in San Francisco. I got a fringe suede jacket. So I was at Stanford and we would go down to SF for like the weekend for fun stuff. And vintage shopping was a really big part of it. And I do remember exactly what you were talking about, that feeling of like, I'm the only person with this. And like, it just makes you feel different and unique.
It does. Yeah. And that's what I needed to finally feel like I could walk down the hallway of high school looking with my chin up high.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, because you were doing your own thing, informed. But you know what I think the other thing is? Because we're going to get into your background in tech, because before you were in fashion, you were in tech.
Yeah.
To have great personal style, you have to have a unique point of view. You have to be a person of the world. You have to be experiencing culture. You have to be reading books. You have to be watching films. Like, it doesn't come out of nowhere. And I think increasingly we live in this world where people are like, oh, I like that on Pinterest. Like, I'm just going to recreate the look. Or I see how many TikToks recreate this look. And it's like, some of it has to come from your brain, you know?
I truly feel like my fashion came from in here.
Internal, from the soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't come from any magazines or any sort of obvious reference. Maybe it came from, those old dapper men who are just dressed to the nines every day with their little hats on, a 3-piece suit. Like, that is inspiring to me. Or looking out at the clouds and seeing just something in there that creates, like, I don't know, maybe a new silhouette for me. But I really just feel like it is just like, I don't know, it's just within me.
Yeah, well, and that's why you're a designer. So before you worked in fashion, you were in tech. What were your early career experiences like? What did you do? Where did you work?
So I worked at, it's called Soul Republic. So it was like a lifestyle consumer electronics brand. And I was with the company from the beginning, from just like ideation. I wrote like part of the marketing plan and was interning with them when I was in grad school. And then they ended up hiring me, and I was with them for 4 years.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that because they were in San Francisco and it was, tech vibe and super startup, like working out of a living room, we were able to wear whatever we wanted. So I never had any constraints when it came to my wardrobe.
Your fashion.
Yeah.
When did you decide you wanted to work in fashion? Like, this is not for me. This is not my path. I actually want to do something in fashion.
I never felt like it wasn't my path because I find myself, like, the goal has always been to get back there.
To tech.
Yes, to tech.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to find an authentic way where they can both live simultaneously. So it's a mere break,
Yes.
a little hiatus. Although it is how I did start my year at CES, which felt very, very full circle for me to have a fireside chat at the biggest consumer electronics trade show in the world. And just to talk about like sustainable fashion on that kind of a tech platform.
Well, I mean, you studied global entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You have this tech background. You're interested in sustainability. How do all of those things come together for you to eventually create Sami Miro Vintage?
I had this idea of the name Sami Miro Vintage because my friends would call me that because I was always wearing vintage. So they would call me Sami Miro Vintage.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And so I knew I wanted to start one day something Sami Miro Vintage. Had no idea that it would be a clothing line. But back, this was, 10 years ago. Also, congrats to you on your 10-year
Oh my gosh, I know. Look at us, 10 years into building our dreams.
Yes. What a journey.
What a journey. The circular supply chain, I understand what those words mean, sort of. But what does it actually mean to create a sustainable fashion company? What does it mean to actually create something that uses a circular supply chain?
Yeah, so great question. Those are two different things. A sustainable supply chain versus circular, as you kind of said.
Educate me.
Sustainable at this point is a marketing term.
It's kind of a throwaway, doesn't mean anything.
Who knows what it could mean, because there are so many ways to be sustainable. And it's greenwashing sometimes. It's very ambiguous. But circular fashion is very specific because it insinuates that there is a continuous life cycle of an article of clothing, or it never goes into the abyss. And that is showcased in a variety of ways. Like, one way of doing it is by upcycling. So instead of sending something to a landfill, it can be deconstructed and the fabric reutilized to create something new and to make something, better and to increase the longevity and the lifespan.
Yes. Is that what you got to do with Levi's?
It is what I got to do with Levi's. Yes, it was my first zero waste collaboration.
Oh my gosh. So how does that happen? Levi's comes to you and they say you get access to all of the dead stock?
Yeah, so Levi's came to me because one of my first products was, my first canvas really was vintage Levi's and vintage denim. I don't think they knew at the time that it was vintage Levi's solely.
Which, by the way, can I just say, I just
is the best.
I just purchased vintage Levi's when I was in New York. The best.
It's the best.
I mean, jeans now, by the way, like Saint Laurent is selling jeans for $1,000. It's gotten completely out of hand. Yeah. You will never find a pair of jeans better than vintage Levi's, but then you have to do that extra step and get them tailored.
Have to, yeah.
But like,
it's worth it.
Once you get a
for
good
life.
pair, but okay, what's your go-to type of are you like a 501?
I'm a 501.
Yeah,
all the way.
501 and like orange tab. Like, do you get into like the tabs?
I personally don't care about that
because people go deep.
They do. They go deep, and good for them.
Yeah.
But I am just all about the wash and
what's your preferred wash and rise and fit?
My preferred wash, I would say like mid wash is my preferred. Then after medium wash, I would probably skew to light wash and then dark.
Okay.
I also love black.
Okay,
Or,
we love
like
black.
faded vintage black gray.
Yes.
Rise, I am low rise girl all the way. I have a really short torso.
Well,
And
yes.
you can't wear high rise when you're only working with this much space.
For me, I'm like one of two extremes. I'm like, I either want like a true low rise, like give me a real low rise, or give me like a high rise. I don't want an in between. I don't want a mid rise.
Yeah.
I want like a high rise or a low rise.
All that matters is that you know what you like.
Yes. And then what do you like for the length? Do you want it to hit ankle? Do you want it?
I have a like 33-inch inseam, which is weird because I'm like 5'6".
Oh, so you have long legs.
Yeah. And so the longer the better for me. Yeah. I mean, I rather a pool on the floor than something that doesn't lengthen my body.
Yes. I'm just remembering like in high school, we would always like cut our jeans on like the side hem to make that like split. Mm-hmm. It hasn't really come back, but
yeah, I do that on my jeans,
on
my reworked vintage jeans.
Oh, I love that.
On the inside.
I want to go back to the circular supply chain. Yeah. What don't people understand about waste in the fashion space? Because I've had to do my own education on this. I think I used to be very vehemently anti-fast fashion. Vehemently. Like, do not shop Zara, do not shop H&M. But then again, as I have educated myself and learned more, I've adjusted my thinking. Mm-hmm. What do you think people don't understand about what it means to truly have less waste in retail?
People don't understand the actual magnitude
of how much waste there is.
Of how many millions of pounds of waste there are out there, and where they are, and how they are seeping circularly back into our food supply. People don't know about the chemicals that are put into our clothing when we take things like, plastic and all of this polyester, and the process to make the material is just, waste so much water, puts so many horrible things into what is touching our skin that also then gets absorbed into us.
So I want to go back to what you said about where the clothes end up. I watched a documentary, and I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting the name, but they showed the beaches in Ghana where they were just dumping all of these clothes, and it truly made me so angry. Yeah. Like, how dare we just dump all of this garbage onto their beautiful beaches? But the visual of just like how much stuff there is. So when you donate something, so let's say you don't want something anymore, you want to donate it. How do you avoid it reaching the shores of a beautiful place? Is there anything that we can do as a consumer?
Well, there are different ways of going about it because one, it depends, like, what is the garment to begin with? Mm-hmm. Is it from, I don't want to plug any of the fast fashion.
Well, okay, so okay, let's talk about the fast fashion though, because are you against fast fashion?
Absolutely.
Okay. Wait, I'm so excited to talk about this.
Yeah, okay.
Tell me why, because I want to hear.
Well, why? I mean, they're ruining the planet.
Yeah. So I felt like this as well, and I actually spoke on my platform about why I never shop fast fashion. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of feedback from people saying that this was an incredibly elitist, out of touch take, and I was like, it's not elitist. You can go to your thrift shop, and they're like, well, what if you're plus size? And so people were like, and also like, you may not live in a city that has cool thrift shops. Like, you could truly be in like a small suburban town where like there is not access to, an interesting thrift shop to. So that was eye-opening for me. But then I also talked to, do you know Leah Thomas? She goes by Green Girl Leah.
I think so, yes.
She's a climate activist.
Yes, of course I do. I met her at the 15% pledge.
Yes.
A couple of years ago.
We had a really interesting conversation about materials specifically. And you can go into H&M or Zara and get 100% cotton. Mm-hmm. You can get like wool garments. You can actually shop for fast fashion by educating yourself on materials and saying, okay, I'm going to buy this, and it's from a fast fashion brand, but I am going to keep it for 20 years.
Right.
And it's becoming harder and harder because fast fashion brands are using continually reduced quality products. Mm-hmm. But she kind of like turned me on to the fact that you can actually be sustainably minded when you shop for fast fashion.
Yes.
If you have the intention of keeping it for a long time,
Right.
and like repairing it, and it's not one of these like you wash it once and it's gone forever.
Exactly. I think it really is the mentality, and it's a lifestyle, and she said that perfectly, because if it is 100% cotton, if it's organic cotton, if it's Tencel, if it's a regenerative material, then, and you are planning on keeping it, it's like, is this a disposable thing
Yes.
to you? Do you have that mentality, or is this something that you plan on re-wearing over and over and over again, and not being worried about the trends and the this and the that? And is it a one or two wears? A lot of people buy things from fast fashion
To wear once. And that is so insane to me. As someone who buys clothes and wears them over and over again for years, I just cannot imagine buying something to wear once.
Yeah.
The people do it. They buy something to wear for an event, and then they're like, okay, it's done.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the culture now, and it's what the way that our minds have shifted when we think about consumption is so different, and that really is because of fast fashion. It's, every day there's thousands of new styles out there available to buy, like thousands every single day. And it has retrained our brains to look at clothing differently and to budget our clothing differently versus, and I totally understand though too, how like you have the option of buying a $15 dress that is like, fulfills the need right now. Or do you want to save up for the, it's a couple of hundred, or it's 100 plus. That is really hard for a lot of people. And it's just, you just have to be committed to it. And I can understand that it is a challenge.
It's how I've always shopped, so I'm used to it. But yes, it does take some retraining. Even I love a designer outlet that is like I love a deal.
Yeah.
And I was shopping and someone sent me a DM and she said, does it bother you? I was at the Prada outlet outside of Florence. And she said, does it bother you that all of this stuff is like from like several seasons ago? And I was like,
of course not.
It's never even crossed my mind that like, I don't care what season something is from. I like what I like, but a lot of people do live in that like they want to shop what's in stores right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been that way either, so I can't relate.
Yes. So what can we do as just the average person to help, not contribute to the terrible toll that fast fashion is taking on the environment? So not shopping fast fashion is one.
Not shopping fast fashion is one. Being aware, I mean, there's no easy answer. You have to make a decision that you want to be a conscious person when it comes to thinking about fashion. Is it an impulsive decision, or are you going to be conscious and think, the cost benefit analysis of it all? Learning about the materials, I would say, I mean, to me, if I were to come up with something that could immediately shift a lot of people's mindsets, is truly thinking about the chemicals and what that is doing. When you're wearing panties that are made with forever materials,
of like the forever chemicals, PFAS.
Yes.
Wait, that can so I've been wearing 100% cotton underwear for years now because I realized I was like do you remember hanky pankies?
Yeah.
I was like, no, enough. I need to grow up and move on.
Yeah.
And I started paying attention to the material of my underwear.
Yeah.
But what are the like bad materials? Like if you look on a label, what are materials that we should avoid at all costs?
Polyester, for sure.
100%.
That's like
okay.
That's like the number one. If there's any polyester,
don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
What else?
I think it's really more about, what I would do is just know the good materials.
Yes. What are the good materials?
So, obviously cotton.
Yes. We love cotton.
We love cotton. Also, if it starts with an organic before it, that's the best. Because it can still be made from cotton, but with chemicals. There are a lot of regenerative materials out there, which is like my favorite thing in sustainable fashion right now, is the materials that are made from, through biodiversity. And these are things like, okay, imagine a imagine taking a mushroom, taking something that we know only actually benefits the ground and benefits the environment with its nutrients that it fills the soils with, and we can take the mushrooms and turn them now into leather, vegan leather.
Oh,
that
cool.
And also a lot things that a lot of people don't know is that a lot of vegan leathers and vegan faux furs are filled with plastic and have horrible chemicals.
Right. Well, I feel like I used to know that because they used to call vegan leather pleather. That like you and I was like, I know
plastic leather.
Plastic leather.
Yeah.
I know what that means. But now they like use all of these like, oh, it's a vegan leather, and I'm like, so it's pleather.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly.
But a lot of the faux things actually aren't great for you or the environment.
Yeah, exactly. But they have, there's pineapple leather, there's apple leather, there's all of these different leathers made out of fruits and vegetables, and that also are regenerative in the sense that they leave the ground improving the world around them. So it's not just used for one thing, but it benefits the entire ecosystem.
Oh, I love that. Your skin is glowing right now. So I'm like, I want to jump to beauty. But before we jump to beauty, I've got to ask you about AI.
Okay.
Because you are a proponent of AI, but AI is largely discussed as one of the key ways that we are ruining the planet, and it takes so much energy and so much water. So how do you contend with the environmental impact of AI and your goals as a fashion designer that really cares about the planet?
It is a tricky thing that I'm honestly figuring out every single day. I think that it's interesting, fashion is also the top 3 most detrimental industries, right behind the aviation industry.
Crazy.
So, there's so many horrible things around us that I think when it really comes down to it is figuring out how you're going to utilize whatever the industry is for good.
Mm-hmm. Right, like AI is here. It's in everything that you use. Even if you think you don't use AI, you are using AI by way of using technology. It's like baked into the actual code of pretty much everything we interact with now.
Yes.
So it's like you can't be against it anymore. I think it's just like, how do you use it for what you want to do?
Right, exactly. And I mean, that's what life is all about. Figuring out how to just be good and make conscious decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Beauty chat.
Yay.
Okay.
I'm really excited to talk beauty with you, by the way.
Well, I'm very excited because I feel like you know the good places to go. And I want to know.
I feel like you know the good places to go.
I've got a few spots, but what are your go-to beauty treatments?
I do Botox.
Okay. How regularly do you do Botox?
I got it for the first time a couple of weeks ago in like a year or something. Okay. So I take too much time off. I just kind of was like, I kind of didn't really see a difference before and after until the movement in my eyebrows was like for the first time creating like a crease when I lifted my eyebrows and my forehead. And I was like, oh, no, we can't have this at all. So got to get that again. And I do, let's see, I've had microneedling done, chemical peels, and I am going to try
PRFM.
Yes.
You're going to do PRFM. Okay, so where are you going for all of these treatments? That's very important from my knowledge.
Yes. So I just had a consultation with Dr. Stoker.
Okay.
And honestly, it's a dream situation that like, I don't know how I got this lucky. But CLD.
Yes.
Okay, it's a PR showroom in LA, like, one of the most popular ones. They emailed me.
Oh.
And they were like, I'm sure you get these emails all the time. We're like, we want to do plastic surgery on you or like something.
Yes, I know. They're always like kind of offensive.
Yeah.
They're like, we think you'd be a great candidate for, and you're like, wait.
Right. But then also
Rude.
you look them up and it's like terrifying. Like you have no idea
And
whose hands you're putting your body or face in.
Yes.
You know?
And I've actually gone out of my way to never say yes to those because I want to be an obnoxious paying customer and be really demanding and like what I like and like, but Dr. Stoker's a different level. Okay.
Yes.
So they reached out and they were like,
yes. So they reached out. They were like, you know, we would love to set you up with them. You can have a consultation for either, you know, under the knife kind of thing.
oh, wow.
Or surface.
Under the knife.
Or beauty. And I'm like, I'm a really natural girl. So I'm like, there's nothing I would go under the knife for yet. But I'm so interested in all of the treatments that are out there. So I'm going to try, what is it called?
The PRFM.
PRFM.
Where they take your own blood and they like centrifuge it and then they inject it back into your face to like stimulate collagen.
Right. Thank you so much. And I'm really interested in knowing more about Sculptra.
Okay, yes. I haven't done Botox.
What?
Yes. I'm not a Botoxer but Sculptra I'm interested in.
Yes.
I just need to dedicate time to figure out my whole situation.
Yeah.
But I'm really big into skincare. I'm like, make skincare sexy again. Everyone just jumps to 4 things past skincare. And I feel like a great skincare routine is so fab.
It's so important.
Take me through your morning skincare.
So my morning skincare has recently changed a lot. Oh. I got very lucky. For my entire life, I've had really amazing skin with very minimal acne. And suddenly, 6 months ago, I started breaking out like crazy.
What prompted this?
We still don't know.
Okay.
There were obviously the first go-to were hormones. There were no changes in any of my, periods or anything like that. I got even, blood tests. Everything was normal. And so I went to a new dermatologist who's actually a Black woman.
Oh. Dr. Pearl?
No, not Dr. Pearl.
But that's the Black woman to see.
Yeah, I know. Well, I got another one. Okay. She put me on tretinoin.
Wait, you had never been on tretinoin before?
I've never been on tretinoin
before. Yeah, and your whole life changed.
My whole life changed. So
what tretinoin? Did you do an Altrino? That's the lotion-based one that I use? Or just a pure gel?
Oh,
Atralin?
No, it was white.
Okay, Altrino probably.
Mm-hmm.
Tretinoin.
0.05.
Okay, 0.5.
0.
Oh, no, 0.05.
0.05, yeah.
Yes, tretinoin is the best thing to do to transform your skin. You can spend a lot of money at Sephora and buying all the things. Yeah. If you're not using tretinoin, you're starting from behind.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. And I think I've been on it for under a month or maybe just a month.
And your skin looks perfect.
My skin has transformed, not only with my acne, but with any scarring that I had, and then also pore size.
I know.
Just skin tautness.
Yes.
Tretinoin
is that girl.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What's your go-to sunscreen?
I use Kosas.
Okay, the Dream Beam.
Yes.
The mineral.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
we love
tinted.
her.
I really love. I also will be another disappointment, but I didn't start using sunscreen until a couple of months ago, and it was through Kosas because I felt that everything was too heavy and greasy, and it would make me break out.
Yes.
So Kosas is wonderful. I think really when it comes down to my beauty in general these days, it's either a clean beauty brand like Kosas Say or Ilia.
Love. What do you like from Say Beauty?
Oh, man. My blush is Say.
The liquid blush?
No.
Oh, the powder?
No. It's the cream. It has
the compact?
Yeah, the compact. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, I'm a coral blush girl. There's no other. I don't want red. I don't want a pink. I don't want.
You want a coral blush.
Coral.
She likes what she likes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ilia also has a great cream blush stick.
Yes, the stick.
That's great.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet, but I'm just I'm stuck on the one that I use because it also has beaminess.
Yeah, a little bit of light reflection in it. Exactly, that's really pretty.
A little bit of gold. I think it honestly looks amazing on every skin tone.
Yeah, that's a really nice one. Mm-hmm. How do you get your makeup to last? Because setting spray, I find the best setting sprays are really the toxic ones,
Mhm.
like the one size
Yeah.
one that's like feels like you're spraying hairspray on your
Literally
face and like you're
hairspray.
choking.
Yeah.
But that's like what makes my makeup last. I haven't found like a good, clean makeup setting.
Well, I'm really excited to share this with you then, because Say actually just launched the first clean
Yes, I have it.
spray. Have you used it?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like it?
No, it's here's the thing. If I'm like doing an event and I need my makeup to last,
Yeah.
I haven't like risked it.
Oh,
I
risk it.
Risk it.
'Cause
Okay.
it's not a risk.
Okay, it's not a risk.
Yeah,
Okay, we love a positive review because
Yes.
I have it. I've tried it for
love
daytime,
it.
and it
Okay.
makes your makeup last though.
Yeah, it's what I use when I go to an event. Like today, what I used is the Kosas setting spray that I like because it feels less of a setting spray. It's just kind of like
A moisturize, yeah.
like melds the makeup
Mhm.
together, which is nice when you're doing it really fast in the car driving over to come see you.
Yes, yes.
But if I'm going to an event or I want something to kind of like last all night, then I use the Say spray.
I'm bringing her back out then.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. I do want to ask you before we finish, do you feel pressure to conform to LA beauty standards? Because there is a beauty standard here. Do you feel that pressure? I mean, you're very close to the standard, I would say, just naturally. But there is an enormous pressure to kind of be like perfect and flawless and have certain features emphasized.
Right. I would say both yes and no. The yes is that sometimes I'll look in the mirror and be like, wait, do I need a lip filler?
You do not.
I'm like,
need
that,
lip
no,
filler.
like absolutely not.
I know,
I don't
but
need
like
lip
the
fillers.
fact that you've even thought that just shows like how deep the sickness goes.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It goes deep. Yeah.
Yeah. And then no, because I don't want to look like a copy and paste.
Right.
And that's more beautiful.
Yes.
Like I'd rather have a little bit of flaw here and there than look like a cat lady here, you know.
Well, you know what? This is very full circle to the beginning of the interview. The reason why you were drawn to vintage was because no one else had it.
Yeah.
And there is like a flex to being like, these are my original features.
Right.
Unaltered.
Totally.
And this is the way that I look and no one else looks like me. And that's something that you can lean into. And I do think that the most beautiful people do have that uniqueness. I never see a girl that has conformed herself to fit the standard and think like, wow, she's so gorgeous and striking.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, to each his own. So
oh yeah, I mean,
it's like
do
for
you?
me, so far it's working.
Yes. So far, what you're doing, you're happy with.
Yes.
When do you feel you're most beautiful?
I feel my most beautiful when I feel my freest. And I feel that way when I'm probably in my office and I have my scissors. And either on my body or on the mannequin or on one of my employees, I am just free form cutting. And free because I don't have a plan. Free because it's like kind of like what you would imagine a sculptor when they're creating a piece of art or a painter, and you have to stop and take a look back. And, you know, if it's more abstract, then it's just so free flowing.
Yeah. You reach a flow state.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, flow state.
It is a flow state, yeah. That's definitely. What about you?
Oh my goodness. I could have a different answer every time I ask this question because I feel like it changes all the time. But I do identify with what you're saying about when you are in process of doing the thing you feel like you were meant to do, you know, when you were creating, when you were building something, when you were like truly locked in on something, that does feel in a strange way like this moment to feel beautiful because you're like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Totally. Yeah. When I think of beauty, it really is, I don't always think about it from like an exterior point of view.
Yeah.
When I grew up, if I ever got and I don't know if this like gave me trauma or not, but anytime somebody complimented me physically, my dad would say, but what matters most?
Yes.
The inside matters most.
And your dad was right.
And he was right, yes. So
shout out to Dad. I'm going to have him on the podcast next.
please
Line him up.
So great.
Thank you so much, Sammy. This was such a great, we like really like ranged like from like vintage and sustainability to beauty treatments and Botox. We really covered it all.
Yes.
So loved getting to know you more. And yeah, I'm excited. I feel like, you know, we're both 10 years in, but these next 10 years, I feel like you're going to continue to just do amazing, amazing things. And I hope I'm there to be there to see it all unfold.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was
Of course.
really, really fun.
Of course. Amazing. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Naked Beauty. I will link to all of the incredible products mentioned where you can see more of Sami and her incredible designs in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here.